No one likes slogging through the mud. Imagine doing it with all of your belongings as you travel to a new home. How was travel improved in our area? Part 2. Roads, Turnpikes, and Bridges. If you missed Part 1, here's a quick recap. Native populations traveled the area by water or on foot along trails and traces that often ran along the rivers and the streams. When the early American settlers arrived, they traveled by water and used the same trails the native population used. But there were often problems on the trail. People were at the mercy of the weather, paths were treacherous, unstable, and very tough to manage. On September 16, 1799, the first General Assembly session of the Northwest Territory was held. In December of that same year, an act was passed providing the rules of governance for the counties in the territory. Claremont County was founded in 1800, and the first court was held in February of 1801. During the second session, the court received a petition from Francis McCormick, Charles Redmond, Ambrose Ransom, and Philip Gatch. They asked for a road from the Broad Ford on the Little Miami River to Williamsburg. According to records, the Broad Ford area was where the bridge is currently today. Here's a fun fact. Surveyor Roger W. Waring submitted fees for the survey on the proposed road, and it was for $18.75, which in today's money is around $480. The road was approved and built, but was quickly overshadowed by the turnpikes. Ohio became a state in 1803, and in 1804, the Ohio General Assembly passed an act authorizing the construction of the Anderson State Road, which ran between Chillicothe and Cincinnati. This road opened in 1806. The Little Miami River in Milford became a crossing point for this road. In 1817, the first law governing turnpikes was created. State law dictated that the right-of-way shall be 66 feet, cleared of brush and logs to a distance of 33 feet. At least 18 feet of the turnpike is to be composed of stone, gravel, wood, or other material that is well compacted together to create a firm, even, and substantial road. The Cincinnati, Columbus, and Worcester Turnpike Company was incorporated in 1828. By 1838, 22 miles of this road was completed from Cincinnati through Milford to Goshen. There were a total of 5 toll gates on this turnpike, spaced 10 miles apart. There was also a toll bridge erected in Milford to cross the Little Miami River. Tolls were often exempt for those traveling to church, funerals, or elections. People trying to avoid the tolls were fined $5. The cost of this road was about $8,000 per mile. The portion from Milford out towards Goshen is now part of what we call State Route 28. In 1831, the Milford and Chillicothe Turnpike Company was incorporated, and a turnpike was constructed from Milford through Perrin's Mill, which is Perrintown, Boston, which is Owensville, Marathon, and out towards Chillicothe. The turnpike is what we now call State Route 50. In 1851, the Milford, Edenton, and Woodville Plank Road Company was incorporated. The turnpike built by this company became what we now call State Route 131. These 3 turnpikes were very important to the growth of Milford. Businesses in Milford had direct access to the turnpikes. The turnpikes also made it possible for stagecoaches, hack lines, omnibuses, and mail coaches to move through the area. As early as 1843, the free turnpike system began when a legislative act gave county commissioners permission to lay out roads. By 1885, most toll roads had been transferred to free turnpikes. John Hageman moved to the area in 1803. He approached Philip Gatch requesting the right to build a grist mill on the bank of the river and cut out a mill race. In 1805, he began a plan to found a town, and on January 17, 1806, he drew up formal plans. He based the town plan on the Philadelphia grid pattern. He had 46 lots with 3 long streets that ran parallel to the river, Water, Main, and High Streets. He had 3 cross streets called First Cross, Second Cross, and Third Cross. As Milford grew and was officially incorporated as a village in 1836, the rules for streets, sidewalks, and the methods of their upkeep changed. In 1873, Milford Council passed an ordinance requiring all sidewalks within the corporation to be not less than 5 feet wide and constructed of good gravel, no less than 6 inches deep. They could be constructed of good paving brick or flagging stone laid on a bed of sand. Until the 1870s, oil lamps were used to light the streets. These lamps had to be filled, cleaned, lit, and extinguished daily. The lights were dim and smoky. After 1870, Milford installed a gas system and employed lamplighters. Thanks to the CM&L traction line, electric power and lights came to Milford. The lights were turned on in 1907. Streets would get muddy in the winter and spring and dry and dusty in the summer. The village would hire people to maintain those streets. For example, water would be sprayed to keep the dust down. These were the street conditions until the 1900s, when technology improved the way streets were built and maintained. Tar and chips were widely used in the 1920s. The state of Ohio widened and rebuilt Main Street in 1936 with cement. In 1815, the Ohio General Assembly enabled the construction of the first bridge in Milford. This bridge had a long, barn-like roof over the structure. The original law set tolls for horse and rider, two-horse conveyance, and a neat animal, such as a cow, and hogs. Pedestrians were charged 5 cents for each round trip on the footpath. In 1894, the wooden bridge was replaced by a new bridge called the Iron Bridge. Hamilton County paid $40,000 and Claremont County paid $10,000 towards the construction of the bridge. During construction, alternative routes were set up for vehicles with high wheels, and they were able to cross on the old ford at Elm Street. Village Council authorized the building of a pontoon footbridge so pedestrians could cross the river. A rock fountain was added in 1905. Dr. Con Gatch applied to the city, and the fountain was built in the middle of Water Street at Mill Street. It had a water trough for animals and a metal spigot drinking fountain for people. The fountain was removed in 1925. The Iron Bridge was replaced in 1925 with a Pennsylvania through truss bridge. The cost for the construction on the bridge was paid for by Hamilton and Claremont counties. Due to growth in the area and increased traffic, a new continuous steel plate girder bridge was built in 1978, about 50 feet to the south of the Milford Bridge. When it opened, westbound traffic traveled on the older bridge and eastbound traffic traveled on the new one. In 1984, a bridge inspection showed that the Milford Bridge should carry only 90% of the legal load limit due to concerns that the bridge couldn't handle the increasing amount of traffic. The bridge was closed in 1985 due to substantial deterioration to the bridge. When that bridge closed, there was an average of 19,280 vehicles traveling across it per day. A new bridge was built to carry traffic across the river, and that is what we have today. You can see a historic marker for the old bridge when you walk westbound across that bridge. Residents also needed a bridge to cross the East Fork River in South Milford. A covered bridge was built in 1872, and it was destroyed in 1915 by a cyclone. The replacement bridge had a wooden floor, which was later changed to a steel honeycomb floor. The weather took its toll on the floor, and the bridge was restricted to one lane and a weight limit of 3,000 pounds in 1995. The current bridge was opened in December of 1996. So now we have roads that make travel much easier. The next step was to make travel faster. Watch for part 3 of the History of Transportation in Milford series to learn about the trains and the traction lines that ran through the area.